Welcome to Power Parenting. As always, our goal is to connect church and home by equipping parents to be the primary faith trainers in their homes. And today, Megan's with me. We're talking about a hard topic. And for me, I feel a little bit like this is talking to myself on this. We're going to be talking about being present. And we're not talking about just being physically in our home. What are we talking about, Meg?
We're talking about emotionally engaged, right? We are giving our full attention to our families. And I think it sounds easy or it sounds simple, but many things in our lives can distract us from being present with our families.
Yeah, lots of distractions, especially those who bring work home, or if you're working from home, plus just the mindlessness of social media. There's so many things that pull us away from being present, and I'm guilty. So if you're watching, going, "Oh, I'm not alone. You're not alone. We're going to get this." But we want to give some practical things that we try to do, and then some practical things for parents to do at home. But the first starting place, and I think we're not going to make any adjustments if we are not honest with ourselves.
Right.
Honestly assessing, do I bring work home? Am I distracted at the dinner table? Thinking about, what are my obstacles for actually being present? And the real gut check is if you want to go on your devices and monitor your screen time, which I did before we came in here today, and I'm not going to tell you the hours that my screen and device time has been. But we have to start with honestly going, okay, how present am I fully, mentally and emotionally at home?
Right.
That's the starting place.
Yeah. Well, and I think we have to be honest and realistic about where the world is, right? Because we use our devices for working, we use them for connecting, we use them for communicating, and that's important. But the line of where it becomes distraction or where it takes us away from being present is it feels like it's, not a clear line. But I think if we're honest, we can find this is for work, this is necessary, and this is distraction, and I can prioritize, right, where that line is.
Knowing where that line is, you can set boundaries of when and where those things happen. If I'm being honest, I'm doing good things, answering emails at home because I'm just doing it. But the reality is my wife saying, "Hey, do you hear your son asking you questions?" Because I'm not paying attention. I'm not present. I'm there in the house, but I'm not mentally there. And so that's what we're talking about today. But we have to start with being honest with ourselves, honest with, am I a little bit more distracted than I think I am? And then from there, we've got 3 practical tips to help us be more present. Maybe what's the first one?
Yeah, the first one is, I think once we are honest with ourselves and we can take a look at where we're at, we think we just have to sit down with our families and we just have to say, hey, this is my desire. I desire to be present. I want to be with you, and I see where maybe I have lacked the ability or the priority on being present. And so I think just being honest and maybe apologizing with our families and allowing even for all of us to communicate and apologize with one another if we've not been present.
Yeah, especially with older kids at home who have their devices as well, and even younger kids who have iPads, all that stuff. Right. I love what you said of getting the whole group together, because you can all paint a picture of what do we really want our family to be about? Do we want us to be all sitting on the couch on our devices, or do we want to have connectivity time? Not that we're not going to have moments where we're all sitting on our devices, but if that's just the normal, we're missing out on so much. And so that sitting down as a family and express our importance of being present is a practical way. Maybe it's at dinner and put all your devices in the middle and say, hey, let's talk about this. Super practical. Number 2 is, so once we sit down as a family, then we get to develop a plan. What's our plan? Our electronics and all of those things. Just for my house, we've created several things that I think we're similar on. Weekdays, we don't watch TV in the morning. Really, we barely watch any TV, but specifically in the morning, because we've got stuff to do, and if the TV's on, they're just looking up at the TV, or I'm looking at the TV. We're late for school. It's kind of chaotic. But another one that we try to do, my wife and I wish I could say I'm batting 1,000, but it's more like a good batting average of like 300. But I try when I get home, just go plug my phone in immediately, because it's in our bedroom, it's away, and so I can kind of be more present with that. But even I've had to do my Apple Watch. I got to charge that too, because I'll be on there.
Right.
I'm not on my phone, but I'm answering these texts and all
one
this
little
stuff.
notification, and then you spiral into just like, oh, I have to check this now, and I have to look at that.
Or I'm like, oh man, and I run into my room. It didn't help, and so that's one thing we try to do is put our devices up, especially after school and family time and all of that. It's simple things like that allow us to do. The other thing is, I try my best to limit, or try my best when my kids are on their devices to be engaged with what they're doing. Yeah. I'm terrible at Fortnite, but I joined in to play with my son, because even in that, like, we're spending time together too. And so I have to be present and try my best, even though I don't get it all the time. It that's helped us like mitigate. Yes, they're going to have device time.
Right. This isn't Little House on the Prairie.
I know we're not out. But at the same time, like, I can be fully present while we're playing, and so that's been one thing that helps us. What's some plans that y'all have? Yeah,
we have to be really specific too. Like we say 6 o'clock, phones go away, and then we don't check them again until bedtime. I also would like to say we're batting 1,000, and we're not. This week we've watched a show every night because we've just been tired, and we've just been like, but we all agree on it, and it's something we do together. And so, we try to like have not like super rigid, so it feels legalistic, but also realistic boundaries, and just being really specific about what we're doing. And we communicate really well. If we need to do work or something, we say, "Hey, I need to do this for a few minutes. Can you give me some grace?" Yeah,
that's real good to be able to say, "Hey, I'm not just hiding off in the corner typing or doing whatever. Hey, I really need to do this. Is that okay?" Right. Just communicate. I think that's a huge one too. And not often with our kids. Our kids don't. They're quick to call me out. But so the first step is, our first kind of practical step is getting together. Let's paint a picture of what we want our home to be, and then we got to make a plan. Right. What's the third one?
I think just being reminded that it's not just at home, that our kids are watching, and they're hoping or wanting us to engage with them when we're out at places. And so an example of that is Riley does gymnastics, and the other day she called me out. She's like, "Mom, you're always working while I'm doing gymnastics, and you're never watching me," which is not true, because I do watch, but she doesn't see when I watch. And so I realized, like, I have to work at being more present there so that she sees me watching her, and I don't have to use every gymnastics time to get work done, even though sometimes it's easy because, it's kind of boring to watch sometimes. Yeah. But I love watching her.
Yeah, and I'm the same boat with my daughter. Of like, it's half the time I don't know where she's at on the floor. She's running around, so I'm like, I'm just on my phone or listening to stuff. And but same thing. It's like, hey, did you see me land that? And I've been excited because we talked before, like, what are you working on? What do you want to hit today? What do you want to do? And so I'm anticipating going, I need to see her and encourage her afterwards. So it forces me to get off my phone and pay attention. But we see it all the time at Little League and sports, and even at high school football games. Like, people parents on their phone just mindlessly scrolling. And by the way, like, people can see behind you what you're looking at.
Well, that too.
But that's a whole other thing. But super practical. So get with your family, paint a picture of what you want to happen, make a plan, and realize, like, that plan needs to include away from home, specifically with parents. And so the goal is not to shame or make us feel guilty or any of that stuff. The goal is just to be reminded that these moments matter, and it's going quick.
So fast.
And if I go and look at how many hours I have on my device versus the time I pour into my kids, I hope and pray that for the 18 years that they're in my house, that my time with them outweighs what I put on my devices.
Absolutely.
And that's the goal. That's the heart of all of this. So on behalf of the Empowered Homes team, we just want to say we're honored to walk with you as we equip the next generation of believers, one home at a time.